Hello and welcome back to our podcast.
Hi everyone.
So we've had a little mini break, haven't we?
Yeah, little short end of season break.
For about literally like 2 weeks, but many of you were saying, come on, we want to hear more. So we thought we'd come on again, and we're doing it slightly different this time. We're doing a video one as well. Yeah. So we're doing both. So you can still listen to our audio in the cars, because I know lots of you like listening while you're on your travels and going about your day, but also we'll have a little go on YouTube as well, just because we're so photogenic. And we've just spent about
Everyone's
half an hour.
Everyone's puking now watching it.
We've literally just spent half an hour trying to work out, because we really don't know what we're doing. We're just having a little trial. We are novices, aren't we? But we're just, all we're doing, do you know what? We're just trying to get some stuff out to you guys, so you...
It's just chat at the end of the day, as Alan Partridge would say.
It is just chat, and we're just trying to tell you a little bit about, I suppose, crystals and what we do, and I don't know why I'm shuffling around with that, but I am, so...
I don't know. Hopefully you can see some of the crystals in the background, because I did that display. that's my handiwork.
We've worked really hard at that. I'm sorry for those ones that you're just listening, but you're going to have to go and listen on YouTube, so... Yeah, very sorry about that.
Well, you can always do a screenshot for the picture that you put on Spotify.
So, what are we talking about today, babes?
Well, we thought we'd talk about what you do, really. So, not specifically about crystals, in individual crystals, but about, so you're a crystal healer, you're a crystal energy therapist. That's what you've built your life around. But you know, I was a skeptic, wasn't I, before you started doing this? I'm sure there's loads of skeptics out there, and loads of people probably don't even know what it is. I'm sure obviously your clients know what it is, and lots of your followers will know what it is, but lots of people won't as well. No, so I thought I'd just ask you some really basic questions to see
makes me nervous.
See where we get to, really.
Let's just get back to basics then. Yeah, seeing as we're in my treatment room, this is actually my brand new treatment room in our gorgeous new house in Leek, and we have two beautiful big Georgian windows on the oldest street in Leek, and it's just a beautiful setting with wooden shutters. It's a main road, so it can be a little bit loud, and I was worried about that at first when I first was doing treatments, but then I realised it's a ley line, because the Romans built roads on ley lines, didn't they? The energy lines through the world, because it made it a little bit easier for them. So I know, and I felt it doing the treatment, that there's an energy meridian, a ley line going down this road. So all this energy, like this river, is going all down my treatment room. So we're
Is that why there's a church at the top and the
a
bottom?
Church at the bottom, yeah, and there's another one down the line.
In the old days, they would have associated
on
that
those
with
ley lines.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah.
So I didn't plan that, did we? That when we moved here.
No, we didn't plan the road. We definitely didn't plan the road.
We dug it and we placed the ley line in, didn't we? Specifically for my treatments in my treatment room.
About 1,000 years ago we did that.
Oh, it's hurting my back. Sorry, twisting. I'm just going to have to sit a little bit like this. Okay. Oh, the glories of recording.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot easier when you're just doing your voice, isn't it?
Okay.
So, right. It's a really basic question to start with. How did you get into crystal healing?
So, as many of you know, I found my first crystal when I was 5 years old, and then obviously I didn't go into crystal healing then. I just collected them. I was very interested in them as a child. You collect stones and crystals. And then later in my adult life, I happened upon a crystal shop, which I didn't even know I was going to find. And I remember being in like these emotional tears as I walked through, and it just felt like, you know,
just as you were walking through the door.
Yeah, it felt like I was going through that one in Stockport that's not there anymore. I felt like I'd gone through this tingly shower as I walked through the door.
Like those wafty plastic things you get.
Yeah, but it was going like this, and it was the energy in the shop. Yeah. And I was just like, and it made me emotional. So you know when you just step into something that completely resonates with your soul.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, and things like that make you cry, because you're just like, oh, this is amazing. And I didn't know what was going on, so I just was collecting these crystals from this room. I was just holding them. And then I took them to and bought them, and then from then on I had to go to the library and get a book because you couldn't go on the internet then. It was way before the internet. I think I was about 21. So
did the man in the shop not tell you what they were then?
All I said to him, it was a man serving me, and all I said to him was, does it hamper their healing qualities if they're polished or rough?
Right.
So if they're basically like this, sorry for those guys that are listening, but if they're rough ones like this and not gone through a tumbler to make them polished.
So Vicky is holding up a piece of rose quartz. That's what they do on the radio, isn't it?
And now she's holding
a Lemurian clear quartz.
And
I know my stuff.
And now she's holding a
smoky quartz thing.
Lemurian. These are all my crystals I work with. So anyway, I asked him that question, and he was just like, you know, when someone just goes a bit blank. And I literally,
like I just did there.
Yeah, he didn't literally take a step back, but his energy went and took a step back because he was just like, what the hell?
I sell them, I don't.
I know, and it wasn't just, I suppose because crystal healing wasn't even really spoke about then, but it wasn't a jewellery shop. They were selling, you know, big chunks of crystal. But he did literally energetically go. But also, I think I've spoke about this before on my blog. I used to write before podcasts were a thing as well. God, we're so old, aren't we? Anyway.
Very.
So I wrote in a blog once about how this happened. I walked into this shop, and I'm very literal, and I very often hear my guides and angels, and you know, you might want to roll your eyes when I say things like this, but I believe in them, and they serve me well and my treatments. But I am literal with my kind of messages that I get, and sometimes the angels kind of go, no, don't be so literal, because as I walked into that shop, I then thought, no, I don't want to work in a crystal shop.
So you're going to still be at the counter for the rest of your life.
I thought that, you know, that when I clicked into my soul and I felt, and I was like, whoa, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was like, no, I don't want to work in a shop. And then my angels were like, come on, no, outside the box, think outside the box. So I knew then that was my calling. So
you knew
I
that.
collected then.
Yeah, you knew that crystal was going to play a big part.
I didn't know what it was
life,
at that point.
You didn't quite know what it was.
But I trusted. I just carried on collecting. So thought, I'm not. There's no harm in this.
No.
Don't know what's going on, but I'm now intrigued. So I've got my book out the library again. One of those aha moments, soul dropping, jaw dropping moments. It fell off the shelf in the library. You're just like, holy.
That's Harry Potter style, isn't it? That?
Yeah, I was just going. Anyway, I was like, oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, the Handforth Library.
Amazing.
And then I kept getting it out because I needed it so much, so I kept renewing it. You know, you can do it over the phone.
Yeah.
And she said to me, I think you just need to buy this book. So I was like, and again, before Amazon. So I had to go to a bookshop.
A world before Amazon.
Yeah,
God, I can't
so I
actually
had to
remember
go to a
what that was
bookshop
like.
and buy my crystal book. And I hope to God I still got it. Do you know what? I think I gave it away. Very thumbed. Anyway.
But the point I was going to make was, right, so there were, like the man in the crystal shop, when you asked him that question, so he was selling minerals and crystals and amazing things that come out of the earth, which I get completely. But then obviously there's the other side, which you are completely drawn to, which is the energetic and the healing side.
Yes, that's
so there are two, not distinct, but there are two elements, aren't there? And I would say I'm definitely more drawn to the mineral side and being astounded at what comes out of the earth. But maybe he was that, so he didn't quite understand the question. But you were getting drawn into the other side then, the healing side, the energetic side. So what did you do next? How did you take that forward?
And also that's why not such beautiful crystals, I think they're beautiful, but some people think they're a bit like, you know, not the shinings and not the
sparkly
ones. And the sparklies that do really well on Instagram when you twinkle and stuff. I like them, but I love the ones that, for me, it's the energy that I feel more than what they look like. So that's why I've always been drawn to the hard workers and the ones that are so magnificently powerful that you can't always tell. So then I
just remembered we did a live sale years ago. Do you remember?
Beauty and the Beast. Because we had quite a lot of beasts.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, because they weren't like the really pretty ones. They were big, like powerful ones, weren't they? And we tried to get the Beauty and the Beast music in the background when people were joining, and then Amazon was like, "Your parcel is being delivered," so we had to scrap that idea.
At least it came on over the speaker, didn't it? Yeah, it all. But yes.
So you've always been drawn. You've always been drawn to not necessarily the sparkly crystals that people love to put on Instagram, and for you it's the energy of them and the power of them rather than what they look like. Although you're not averse to owning nice things.
No, absolutely.
But it is the power, is the energy. So you were drawn into the healing side of them.
Well, it was an
side
energetic exchange. So when you hold crystal, the crystalline particles are going into you. So it's a conversation. Like when I walked into that shop, all of this energy, all of these crystals were fuffing out energy, like little raindrops. They were just fuffing it, and I walked into that fuff and I felt it on my face.
Right, like a cobweb.
Like crystal, but it felt cobwebs. If I walked into a cobweb, I'd go, ugh. Whereas that, I'd be like, oh wow, what's that?
Charlotte's Web's cobweb.
So yeah, I was feeling that energy exchange, and I knew something profound was going on. So I just collected over time, studied in my own sweet time, just got myself a gorgeous new hobby. I was doing mobile hairdressing at the time.
I know that, beauty therapy.
And then I, as you always do, I found my perfect teacher. Always come along when you need them, as people say to me when they find me as their teacher.
Just at the right time.
Yeah, my neighbour was learning beauty therapy or reflexology, I think, at Mac College, and she said, "Oh, there's a lady coming to do a talk about crystals today, just to like a bit of an interest. Would you like to come?" Like, yes, hell yes, oh my God.
You don't need to think about it for a minute.
So I went, and it was half an hour chat, and she was just talking about crystals, and I was just like that, just absorbing and she brought a few things in to show us, and I was just like sucking all of that energy up. And then I went straight to her and I said, "Do you teach courses?" She's like, "Absolutely." It's like, right, sign me up.
And I remember you coming back and saying that you wanted to do that, and I was really sceptical.
Well, you would always be like, "How much is that?"
Yeah, no.
How much is that going to cost?
Yeah, I was like that, obviously.
Even though my beautiful mum paid for that. And look at what's happened. I've been doing it for 22 years.
No, I know that. That's looking back, you think, well, why would you ask such a question? But at the time, I did ask that question because I think you've got a good job here, you've got a good business here.
Yeah. Beauty therapy.
We weren't loaded or anything like that. We needed every penny to pay the mortgage because that was when mortgage rates were 14%.
We had 2 toddlers running around.
So yeah, it was a difficult time, really, wasn't it? As most people go through those difficult financial times. So I did ask that question because it was all a bit. It worried me that you were going off on a tangent.
And especially in those days, if you think about that, was like 20. How long ago? 25, 27 years ago. So it's not like now, there wasn't even the expression. It's a bit ooh, or a bit. I don't think people even spoke about spiritual stuff. You were kind of like, what's that? Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I very rarely spoke to anybody about it because I used to just get this. People didn't even used to say to me, "Oh, what's that?" with intrigue like they do now. Yeah. They just would go,
"Anyway,
I'm not talking to you.
Couldn't see anyone. Yeah, where's the door?"
They'd say, "Oh, what do you do?" Crystal therapy." Right.
No, some people still do that. Some people still do.
Not often now, though. And also, I think it's because
you're far more confident.
I am very confident in delivering it now. Whereas before, I'd be like, I just do crystal healing, and I must have given off the energy going, "Don't ask me," because it's all new to me as well, and I know it's a bit weird, and I don't know whether I'm owning into that weirdness yet. And
I've only got a foot in.
Yeah, I've just got my toe, just dipping my toe, and I want to go fully in. But your face has put me off. So
I'm not committed yet.
Yeah.
But you did get committed and I remember you used to go to the courses, and which again, from a selfish perspective, was difficult for me because I was at home with the kids and everything like that. So I'm thinking, why not stick to what you're doing?
Not change.
And we might be able to go on holiday. But Norma was your teacher, wasn't she? And you went to your courses in New Mills.
Yeah.
And that started the journey. And I remember, so you did all your courses and everything, then you become qualified. Now, obviously, I'm jumping forward there. And
2 years.
And I was thinking, right, so you've got your qualification now. How does that work then? How are you going to make that into a livelihood?
Because, remember, I asked Norma that as well, and we all did, because, you pay this money, and it was one weekend every month for like 6 months 1 year, 6 months the next year, and we had to do loads of case studies and a huge amount. I mean, you students now that are learning with me, you get off easy. We had to do so many case studies.
Sure they don't think that.
So many case studies. We had to do so much work to do, become this crystal energy therapist. And I forgot what I was saying. And so
I said you go from the stage you're learning all about it, then you qualified, and then how? So my question at the time,
how do you then?
And you said the same to Norma, wasn't it? Like, where do we get customers from? How am I going to make this into a living?
Unhelpfully, but also helpfully, because I've also done this to my clients. My students. Is she said, what did she say? Make the room and they will come. Right. And I think I know that
very guru-ish.
It was, and it's also a bit cryptic. And I was like, oh, that's not helpful, because I was there with my notes.
And when you told me,
I know,
that wasn't helpful.
Make the space and they will come. And it came from two levels. That was like literally make the space, because I was literal. So it's like, right, I need to have a couch. I had a couch anyway, to put the massage couch.
Yeah.
I need to have space for this, but I also needed it in me. I needed to accept it, that this is what I do, and own it. Yeah. I was lucky because I already had clients from my business of doing beauty therapy and aromatherapy, so I knew they could blend beautifully. So I was very lucky with that. They started just to come as like volunteers first of all. They wanted to try it out, and then it built and built.
Well, you make it sound a bit easier than it was, because there were very few and far between at first, and you were doing treatments in the bedroom. We had quite a big bedroom at the time, didn't we?
Yeah, but like a dressing room area. So
that sounds grand. It wasn't grand,
but it used to always make me feel a little bit like, oh, there's our bed. It felt so professional. And I remember once Maya must have been 2 years old. She's like 23 now, bless her. We put her to bed. So I used to look after the kids in the day, and then I would do my treatments at night. And it was 6 o'clock, and I had my client upstairs. They have to come up the stairs. We were to make sure my stairs are all tidy, and the bathroom upstairs was lovely for them to use, and chaos everywhere else. Put Maya to bed. The other two were a bit older. They were downstairs, and I was doing my client, and then the door's like,
was it Maya?
Little face like that
through.
And I was just like, oh dear, I'm just. But that was. I mean, things have changed. I'm so lucky now. I've got this most gorgeous treatment room. But do you remember though when we went through the traumas of what you said to me about how, like, when I didn't have clients, when we moved house, not this one.
Well, again, it's. I mean, we've talked about this haven't we, on these podcasts, where it's about, for me, control and security. And we moved, and it was just after the financial crisis of 2008, and everything went up. We had a bigger mortgage, but bills went up. All the household bills, food went up, and we didn't have any money. We were really,
because we'd worked out for the new mortgage, hadn't we? But we didn't take into consideration this huge big thing happening with food and fuel bills, which has just happened now again recently.
Absolutely, the cost of living crisis, and it was really scary for both of us. We didn't know what we were going to do. And I remember having a conversation with you in the kitchen.
I never forget it, and I repeat this quite a lot to my clients.
So I can say that I was quite pivotal in your success.
So you were actually a little bit outrageous, because Chris.
No, but that led to that was pivotal in the future of your success. That's the way I look at it.
It was actually, because I needed it to own what I did.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was doing all along.
And I never forget it, because you were in the fridge, as you very often are.
Yes.
You closed the fridge door. I was by the kettle making a brew, as I very often am. And you were like, babe, we don't have any money. And I had like one client a week, didn't I? Or if that, I was lucky.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't know what else to do. And you were like, well, you're really good with people. Maybe you could be a nurse. I was like, that's ridiculous. I'd have to go and do years training to be a nurse. You were like, well, what are you going to do?
I think I might have even said also you could get a job at Tesco's. And that's not being derogatory to anyone that is a nurse or anybody that works at Tesco's. I was thinking of it.
I think I did that as well, though.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was thinking of what I was thinking, I suppose, was you're doing this airy-fairy spiritual stuff over here that's not bringing it's not bringing any money. It's nice things for you to do.
Go and get a job.
But I need it to be practical and bring some money in. Yeah. And that's why it was pivotal in your success.
Because I said to you, what did I say to you? I was like, because I absorbed what you said, and then I remember it landing, and then I had this amazing feeling again on my cheeks and just landing in my soul, which I know I talk about a lot, but I literally plugged myself in, looked you right in the eye and said, but I am really good at what I do. Yeah. And you said, well, then do it. And then, but not in a way like, well, do it, get it done. You were like, do it.
Yeah,
I think that was like, own
I do remember saying that. And
own it.
Yeah, what I was trying to say was, if you're going to do it, then do it. Yeah. Don't play at it. Don't doubt it.
Just do it.
Do it.
And that was the moment where I know that my teacher meant find the space and they will come. So I needed to find that in my heart, in my soul. And then it was so weird, wasn't it? It was literally about an hour later, the landline rang. And that was the time when people phoned on the landline. Oh, can I have an appointment?
Half the people in the world don't even know what a landline is now.
And then it never stopped because I didn't have a website then.
Yeah.
Didn't have mobile phones to book in with the WhatsApps and stuff. And it was the phone ringing. And I was just like, oh my God. And clients were just flowing. And I remember I got a bit overwhelmed at one point. And I remember thinking, again, I say this to my clients, because sometimes we can stop doing things because we're too frightened of success, not failure. We're frightened of going, what will happen to me?
Yeah, because
if I'm
it's
really
the
busy
change
with
it
this
brings
and
along.
I don't know what to do with my life, but you can control it.
Yeah.
We literally have this dial. I allowed this to come, and then I was like, okay, I need a breather right now. Just give me a breather, because I was starting having some quite heavy duty clients at one point, wasn't I? There was quite a lot of abuse, and I was just like, just a little bit of a breather at the moment, because it was quite hard. And that happened as well. We can control that. We create our own realities, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose, you talked about abuse. Obviously, that was clients that were coming to you. But you had to learn how to not absorb all that as well, didn't you?
Well, that's a daily thing.
Make sure you don't take that on.
Yeah,
bring
absolutely.
it back and all that.
And that's something I really, really do preach with my students as well. And not just your students, when you're learning to do something energetically, having an energetic exchange. That's not just doing a crystal energy therapy session. That's just being with somebody. You hear it all the time. Our daughter, she goes to work and she takes on board. Well, Jackson does actually. All three of our children do. They will sit and listen to people. They're kind of soundboards, our children, aren't they? They're empaths like us. And people just go, and they go, and before they know it, they're like, oh, God, shit. And then they very often come to me, and then I help them offload it. But we all need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So it's something that I do daily, not just because of my treatments or after a session. I make sure, as you all know, every day, clear my tube, sit in my soul, get rid of the excess, because you hear it so many times, so many people, as therapists and people, I've just spoke about children. Sorry about that, big motorbike just went past. You hear about them getting sick, especially healers, because they are connected to source, so they're bringing everything in, there's this energetic exchange happening, but it is going through us. And you will hold on to little particles of it, or you'll hold on to a lot, but you have to get rid of it.
Have to let it go.
Yeah.
So we were going to do. There's lots of questions I wanted to ask you, and
what about how it works?
Yeah, and we will. But I think this is maybe a part two as well, isn't it? Because we're not going to get it all done in the time that we have. So can I ask you a really basic question then?
Yeah.
How does it work?
And so many people ask me that, and so many times, because I think I have so many different answers. Because you can have a scientific one, you can have a spiritual one, you can have I don't know, they're all real.
Yeah.
But it's tricky, so I'll try and explain it as much as I can. It's an energetic exchange. So if you think absolutely everything is made up of atoms and particles. Mm-hmm. Everything is a vibrating mass of atoms. Is it particles within the atoms or atoms within the particles?
Particles within the atoms.
Everything is made up of that. This chair that we're sat on, you, the microphone, metal, everything is made up of this vibrating mass. And it depends on the vibrancy, the vibrating of it, mm-hmm. and the amount it's vibrating to the density of it.
Right.
Crystals have exactly that same thing. They have all of these little atoms and molecules inside, but they have a very consistent vibration.
Right.
So their vibration, depending on what type of crystal it is kind of like do, 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 do. Whereas our vibration, say like we've had too much caffeine or we're feeling very stressed, and it can be like
like this morning.
Yeah, all over the place, and there's loads of heavy energy in there. So just by then holding crystal, not even placing it on your energy centers, your chakras, just holding it, then this energetic exchange begins to happen. So it's like a tuning fork. You can't help but notice you have a tuning fork. That vibration, that sound just goes everywhere, exchanges to everywhere. So then the healing vibration of this crystal is now coming into my hand just by holding it.
So the crystal doesn't do the healing then? That's not what you're saying? From layman's terms, in terms of how does it work, that doesn't heal somebody. You use that as a tool to manage
well,
their
no,
vibrations.
It's creating balance.
Right.
So that you could call that healing, couldn't you?
Right,
Just
yeah.
holding it, because the crystalline structure is very consistent and balanced. That then comes absorbed, because we have this exchange like a tuning fork, comes into my energy, and my energy, it's like becomes like because you're holding it.
Right.
My energies then start to become calm and consistent and balanced, and that's healing. So that's on a very basic level with a energy exchange with all of the atoms and the molecules. So it's not all woo-woo, it's not all spiritual. There's that too, because you've got all that coming in as well, which is very high vibration. But you've actually got scientific, evidence that that's what crystals are doing. Their energy is coming into our energy and allowing us to release, let go, pull in, come into balance, settle into your soul.
Well, why can't a cup do that, or a piece of wood do that?
Because crystals have this very different form of crystalline structure. There's a lot of space in between crystal structure. They've looked into it scientifically. If you go right into that amount of structure, they have this space.
So it's the way the crystals the atoms are aligned within the crystal that makes all the difference.
Yeah. So a cup, we wouldn't feel different, but you would if you held a stone. Right. A stone on a beach, because it's got the elements of the sea in there. It's got the elements of being tumbled in the sea. You can feel that grounded feeling just by holding a pebble. So
is it because a cup has been processed?
Yeah, and if you're very much so, and it's not been naturally formed. But if you are very sensitive, then you can feel energies of that as well. You could feel almost the machinery that's gone through, the vibration. I read a book about that once. It was amazing.
That makes sense.
So everything has this energetic exchange. If you think we're just everything around us, even though we're in these forms, and we think, well, that's solid, that's not, that's this, so we feel we're separate. We're not. We're just a huge mass of atoms all bumbling along. But crystals bring in that order, and we need that for clearance and connection.
And because it aligns things and it gets things in order.
Then it allows, once you're in order, which means your chakras in
comb
order.
Effectively then.
Yeah.
Combing energy. Because
we've got these chakras coming out like these amazing funnels which feed into all the layers of our auric field. So with this big bubble of energy. So you're having this energetic exchange with your chakras that then start to fall in alignment because the crystal's doing that, which you're then starting to get rid of heavy energy, so you feel a lot lighter. You then start to tether into your soul because your crystal, you're releasing energy, you're releasing stuff from your chakras, so they are more likely to slot into your soul then.
And so
have I not made it
No, it's a lot to take in, that's all, isn't it, really? Even though I know it. So, I can imagine somebody coming to see you for the first time and they say, right, how are you going to help me? And you talk like that, it's just an awful lot.
I don't say that,
so,
no, I would say literally, if you just held crystal, you would feel the benefits because the energy starts to impart into your own energy. Like a tuning fork, you become like crystal. When you place crystal on chakras, which are these opening doors to energy where it's really swirling, then you really pull, it's like a fan, in and out. You're pulling that energy in and you're releasing it. And I'm also a conduit, so I'm also holding crystal. So not only have you got crystal on your body, I'm also drawing energy in from the universe, up from my soul, up from our earth, into this amazing crystal which then conducts it, and then...
Don't start lasering me.
You get zapped.
like you did with my toothache that time. Oh.
So you get zapped by it. So you get this, we get glorious effect by just having crystal in the room because they're constantly emanating this change of energy. We get it when we hold it because it's exchanging in our particles. But the biggest thing is when it goes literally into your chakras. And then
as a direct impact.
I am then channeling energy in and out of that for you as well. There's so much more.
I know. Well, that'll be for part 2 because so this is something for you to think about because what I'm going to ask you next time is things like, right, if I've never been to see you before and I walk through the door, what can I expect? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Just to give people an idea of, because I would be really daunted going in to see you know,
But
a
don't forget,
therapist full stop, and then a
you're
therapist
coming from a
that can do different
scientific
things.
point of view at the moment, and don't forget that I again work on myself daily to create my energies. It's not always the words that we speak.
No,
they
definitely.
literally
No,
sit
I get
next
that.
to me or in front of me, and I will say, you know, how can I help you? How can I help you today? And I just sit and hold space with a high vibration. They feel safe, they feel held, and then they share. And then we start to talk. Before they know it, they're usually like, oh, I didn't mean to say that much, or I'm sorry for crying, or I'm like, no, this is
fine.
all happens here. Never judge yourself, you are safe.
Right.
So we'll have a conversation first, and then they will get up onto my couch, where I play some many crystals, and the magic happens, the release, and...
Well, so next time then, I'd like to ask a few more questions around that, just about what that experience
Steps of
is
what the
like.
treatment
Yeah,
is.
exactly. What does it entail? What could somebody that's never even thought about it before, or somebody that is thinking about it, what could they expect when they walk through the door?
What it can do for you.
Yeah, but also I'd be really interested to know, because if you think about how many clients you've done over the years,
Thousands.
how many people that you've helped, there must be, well, not must, but there might be like one really profound experience with a client, or for you as well. So I'd be really interested to hear about that as well, but we'll have to do that next time.
Well, I'd like some listeners and watchers to share that with us as well.
Well, watchers, that's a new addition
Yeah.
to the vocabulary.
What they would like to, if they would like to share, doesn't always have to be with me. What profound thing has happened to them having a crystal treatment, or learning about crystals, or meditating with them. I've got lots of stories, profound happenings with my clients. Obviously we won't be saying any names, but really amazing. I'd like to talk about entities, the removal of spirits, the removal of ghosts, the removal of narcissistic attachments. Oh my God, there's so much that can
we know all about those.
But we know what can happen and what you can do. It's not just to feel spiritual and to make your chakras aligned. There is so much you can do.
Practical life changes that can be applied to.
Unbelievable.
Well, let's do that in the next one.
Part 2.
Yeah, and also, but
I'll just make notes though and remember, because otherwise we don't. We go on
I will.
And talk about all sorts of
bullshit. But also, if there's any questions that anybody that listens wants to ask,
if I've not been very clear.
Yeah, so anything really, and then I'll put those questions to you. So I'll be a bit of a Michael Parkinson type situation.
Yeah, fire them at me.
Yeah, and ask you some questions, so we could do some quick fire ones and some more in-depth ones or whatever.
Great.
But let me know.
Have a Q&A.
Yeah, just drop us a line. Let us know what if you've got a question, what you'd want to ask Vicky, and we'll take that up in part 2. But I've got my other list of questions that obviously, as usual, we ramble and talk about things and run out of time. So we'll do those in the next one then.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, as always.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And watching, if you enjoyed it. If it was a bit shitty, then we won't do that again. It might not have even recorded, who knows?
Yeah, well, I forgot to breathe in for all of that, so I'll have to remember that for next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Good. Yeah, there's no way we're going to get all that done in one go.
No, not the way I
So what did we do? We did what is crystal healing?